Hello and welcome to Coffee with the Principals. I am the Lake Grove Principal, Mr. Booker. Who else do we have with us today?
Good morning. I'm Mrs. Perry. I'm the assistant principal.
And we
Hello,
have...
everybody. Oops, sorry. Hello, everybody. I'm Patty Samore. I'm the family liaison. Welcome.
Excellent. Welcome, guys. All right. Well, this is a video recording of our Coffee with the Principals today. We will be posting this up to our social media just so everybody who has an opportunity to get the same information here if you weren't able to join us at our Coffee with the Principals meeting today. So first thing we want to do is we want to talk just a little bit about the procedures, the routines, and expectations that you can expect your students to be learning while they're in school. So one of the first things we should probably do is just kind of understand what does it mean when we say procedures, routines, and expectations. So when we say procedures, what we're really talking about is what are the steps that you have to take to get something done. So when we say a procedure, what is the procedure to get into your Zoom meeting? Well, that procedure is you log into your computer, you go to Launchpad for Learning, you then find Canvas, you go to that week at a glance, and you find the link to your classroom Zoom, and you go ahead and you click that. What if you need to get to your asynchronous learning? What is the procedure from that? Well, it's very similar. You log into your computer, you go to Launchpad for Learning, you go to Canvas, and then you go back to that week at a glance, and you find the day's work in your week at a glance. And you give that a click, and that will take you to whatever your assignment is. Let's talk about routines. Mrs. Perry, do you have any thoughts around routines?
Yeah, so thinking about routines, this is something that we talk a lot about in the classroom when we're doing normal face-to-face school. And routines are just those habits and just those habits that we engage in every single day. So it's important to have a routine at home just as much as it is at school. So maybe your routine, like Mr. Booker was kind of talking about procedure, a routine is similar. So maybe your routine in the morning looks like getting up, having breakfast, getting dressed, brushing your teeth, brushing your hair, and with maybe 15 minutes before class starts, sitting down at your computer, doing the procedure that Mr. Booker talked about, getting your computer started and logging in. And that's just your morning routine. It feels kind of normal, like it would a normal day of in-person school. Now, if you do school in the afternoon, right, if you do your live lesson with your teacher in the afternoon, your routine might look a little different to where you log in to do your asynchronous work, and then you have an afternoon routine for your live lessons.
Exactly. And expectations. Expectations are really about what are the classroom norms? What are those classroom expectations that we have? And we're going to talk about those in detail in just a few moments. But one of the things that we were very thoughtful about this year is having all of our teachers really think through what their procedures, their routines, and their expectations are. So they're able to articulate that and they're able to share that with their students. That way, there's some clarity and there's some agreed upon ideas that are building wide. So we're going to kind of dive into those in a few moments. But what we really want you to be doing is thinking about what you can do as parents to support that remote learning. So one of the really important things you could do is just really be kind of in tune and aware of what those classroom routines are, understanding what those procedures are, so you can support your students in accessing that that information. And I think one of the really big things that as parents we can do to help our students is helping our kids know that remote learning is still school, and we still have all the same expectations for behavior, all the same routines. You know, those routines might be different, but there are still routines. So school is still school. Remote learning is absolutely school. So we're going to dive into some of the expectations in a little more detail now. So one of the things you'll notice is we use, it's called MAC, and that stands for Movement, Activity, and Conversation. And we have some expectations around each of those letters. So under M, one of the things we have is sitting at your computer, right? So making sure your computer is in a stable place and your computer isn't bouncing all around and making everybody motion sick. Same with your tablet or your phone. So if you're using a cell phone or an iPad or another tablet to do your Zooms, that it's in a stable, not bouncy place. And then being calm with your body. It's okay to fidget. It's okay to have something in your fingers that maybe it's down below the image so that you're still able to get that fidget out. But it's important that your hands are doing the moving and maybe not your whole body, because that could be distracting to everybody else. Under A, Ms. Perry, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
So A is about activity. The activity that you're engaging in when you're doing your video chats is your video with your Zoom and with your teacher and classmates. So as much as possible, it's really helpful to have the video on so that your teacher can see your scholar's face, so that scholars can see each other and have that connection. And it really helps the classroom teacher know that kids are understanding what they're learning and that they're engaged in the work. Now, we understand that having the video on isn't always possible for multiple reasons. So if the video has to be off, that's understandable, but as much as possible, it's great when it's on, because that helps the teacher see this next thing, that eyes are watching in the classroom. You'll always hear teachers remind students, eyes on me, please, eyes on me, eyes on the board, eyes on the speaker. Seeing that eye contact as much as we can in Zoom really helps the classroom teacher understand that kids are engaged and that they're learning. And our ears need to be listening as well. It's really hard sometimes learning from home. There could be other distractions. There could be siblings who are doing their online learning. There could be radio or TV or conversations. So as much as possible, we need to help our kids remember that our ears need to be listening to the speaker, to the teacher, to the classmate who's speaking. Something that could help with this is also using headphones. That can help drown out some of the distractions or other noise that are bound to happen in a home.
Under C, we have some 3 more things we want to talk about. And one is this idea that voice level 0 equals microphone muted. A lot of our teachers are using these great little cards that they can just hold up. And one card is of a microphone with a line through it to show time to mute your microphone. And then another card is one that is actually just of the microphone. And that's a great way for teachers to signal when they need students to be talking with each other or talking with the teacher. Because in the remote environment, it's still important for teachers and students to be talking and for students to be sharing their thinking and understanding, not only with the teacher, but with their peers, with their classmates. So that's a really important thing. The other thing we want to talk about is this idea of how to raise your hand. There are lots of ways you can raise your hand. In a classroom, one of the things I always saw is hands would go way up high and there'd be some bouncing around. Well, that doesn't work very well on Zoom. So the best way to raise your hand on Zoom is to have your hand right up next to your face. Another way to raise your hand is by using the hand raise button in your Zoom. There's a little button that allows you to raise your hand to show that, hey, I need you to recognize me. So those are some options. Another thing we want to talk about, and we're going to focus in on this a lot during our counseling sessions, during our library sessions, and during our social emotional learning sessions, is this idea that we need to use kind words and actions. And that ties in directly to the importance of being a good digital citizen. And that is going to be so important for us to be learning this year, especially as we continue to work in this remote environment. Is the idea that our words, even if we are on video, still have an impact on people, and our behaviors still impact our classmates and our teachers. So we need to be really thoughtful about using those kind words and actions. And we'll be providing parents with a lot of information on that in the upcoming weeks. There's some great resources that we have. One of them will be from Common Sense Media. And there's a lot of really great information for parents, and that's a curriculum that we'll be using here in the classroom to kind of support that social emotional learning, which kind of leads me into this next idea of what resources are available for parents in our remote learning environment. So one of the things that you'll notice is that Dr. Campbell sends out a weekly update on kind of what's going on. And in the last Friday, she sent out a message with lots of video links. And some of those video links are to the orientation. So if you missed either of our orientation days, there are recorded videos of that. There are also recorded videos explaining our technology tools, which is going to be really important as we're supporting our scholars at home as families. So there are videos about how to use ParentVue, how to use that Launchpad to Learning, and how to use Canvas. And those videos are available on our district website, but you can also access them through your email. If you look for Dr. Campbell's messaging on last Friday, she has all those links available for you to access. But you can always go to...
Also put them on Facebook too.
Yes, thank you. They're on Facebook, and we'll have some videos on our school website. So yes, check out our Facebook, and also check out that Federal Way Public Schools, fwps.org. They have a lot of great resources for families on there. They have information on our family guidebook, which really will help you kind of navigate this remote learning environment. So next thing we want to talk about is our remote learning space. And some big ideas here are really this idea that we want to set up that student learning space as far from distractions as possible. And I know that not everybody has the same environment at home. So some of us have lots of people in our house. Some of us have a handful of people in our houses. Some of us have, we just have to be very thoughtful about where we set up our learning spaces. So some big ideas are set up that learning space kind of maybe facing away from the television set. Maybe setting it up in a place where there won't be a lot of family members kind of walking around in the background, especially if we have siblings. So being thoughtful about, if we are going to have scholars accessing this learning from their bedroom, maybe even thinking about, okay, well, during your synchronous time, the sibling isn't going to be going into that bedroom. So they know, and they've got some boundaries kind of set up for that. That way the siblings aren't necessarily interfering. But also keeping in mind that sometimes those siblings can be really helpful, especially older siblings. So if we've got some kindergartners or first graders who need help, those third or fifth graders or even middle school siblings can be a really big help getting access to some of our remote learning tools and information. And then just this idea of having scholars use that same space every day, that sets up a great routine. All right. Ms. Moore, did you have some updates that you wanted to share?
I do. We've had some parents who have been asking about McTeacher Night, and I did contact them, and we are going to be able to do McTeacher Night. Now, we are in a remote atmosphere now, so we're not going to be able to go into the building, but we are going to be able to do a drive-through for McTeacher Night. We will have a table set up as you come in. We will be passing out some information to parents as they go through. We'll also be doing something fun. That'll be a surprise. The date is going to be October 28th. It's from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. So please join us. Let everybody know to join us as a remote drive-through at McDonald's. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Hope to see you there.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Which McDonald's will it be at?
Oh, I'm sorry. So if you've been at our school before, it's the same McDonald's we've been going to, but it's down off of 272nd. It's this side of 272nd, and it's next to the LA Fitness, across from the big parking lot. And as it gets closer, we'll send out more information, and we'll have the address and everything else if you're new to it. But it'll be a lot of fun, and we'll have something fun for the kids to do. Excellent.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope that you have an opportunity to join us either at our morning coffee with the principals or our afternoon coffee with the principals. If you join us, then you'll have an opportunity to ask questions and to give us feedback. But since this is a recording without any families in it. We're kind of doing this in between our Coffee with the Principals. We won't necessarily have anybody here to give us feedback, but if you would like to send me an email, my name is Jake Booker, and my email address is jbooker@fwps.org. And we would love to hear your questions or feedback on what's working well and what might need some improvement. So with that, we're going to sign off. My coffee is just about done. It's getting a little cold, so I think we'll wrap it up. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. See you later.